Handles here.
Yeah. Oh my
Ooh.
God.
And then you fold it over and there's a pin on the horizontal stab here to hang it from.
That's it.
Done.
My goodness.
5 seconds.
Yeah, I know. So come off.
Oh wow.
Good. Carbon fiber.
What size trailer?
It's a custom Icon trailer, but it's like 24 feet, 22
Like
feet
yours,
long. Yeah.
like all the one we have.
I have a 24-foot trailer, but it's probably not high enough.
Well, it's got a special winch with tracks that you cinch it down
Yeah, there's
on
a
its belly, so
axle.
it runs on its belly, not on the wheels.
So you,
Put the wing back on. Here's the release. So I just hold on to the wing, make sure it doesn't drop. Wing is released now, then I slide it back on the tube that it's on there to make sure that the flap there doesn't hit it's called the C wing down there.
yeah.
And as you're coming this way, you kind of roll the wing forward, make sure the corner of your flap doesn't hit the C wing. And then
Rotate it. Slides in.
that's it.
And then this goes up.
And then I gotta lock this. She's locked, it's ready to go.
Wow.
Amazing.
And is there a light in there that says it's locked?
So there's a dummy light for all four. So both wings and both horizontal stab tips
Yeah.
have a sensor in them. And if they're not lined up right, you get a light that just says flight control on there.
Oh, okay.
You don't know which one it is, but it tells you. So, but if you saw the way the mechanism is, you know, the way the alignment is, if it doesn't go in smooth and right, odds are if you get that light, it's probably a sensor, but you never know.
Wow.
With the air flowing through right here, but the windows come off.
Oh wow.
So you can fly around like that with the windows off.
Airflow. Hi, Greg. So exciting you flew your Icon here.
Yes, I did.
Could you tell me about it?
This is the Icon A5. This is a 2018 aircraft that we've just brought up here to Crow Island. Icon is a under the light sport category aircraft that is supposedly changing this week to with the Mosaic changes, but it's a carbon fiber amphibious aircraft with the retractable landing gear, and it's powered by a Rotax 912 IS pusher configuration. And the wings also fold on here, so the aircraft can be put on a trailer for transport, whether you want to bring it via trailer rather than fly, or if you have maintenance issues, or if you want to store it at your house. So it's really convenient having a trailer. But like I mentioned, all carbon fiber construction. Really nice big canopy for excellent visibility. As far as the it's a 2-passenger aircraft with a stick configuration, a little bit of cargo in the back, which is nice, and it has the Garmin Era 796 touchscreen GPS unit, and then radios are Trig radios and Trig transponder as well. And so they've made it very simple aircraft to fly, and it's a very easy aircraft as far as switches and functions in the aircraft, which is really nice for new pilots. But again, it is a seaplane, so there is additional training required. It's an amphibious seaplane, so there's also much more heightened awareness of your landing gear position. I'm a very big stickler on where your landing gear position is. Other things about the aircraft, the wing is an excellent design wing. You can see the different shapes of the wing. It's got a outer cuff on the outboard portion of the wing with vortex generators on the top. So it's got excellent slow flight characteristics. It is, I believe it still is, the only spin resistant certified aircraft by the FAA. That might have changed, I'm not sure. So it is spin resistant. But the stall characteristics are very good as well. When you go into a full stall, it just basically flutters down, and there's really hardly any left or right turning tendencies when you're in a stall. So that's become a very attractive feature of people wanting to fly the Icon. So landing gear is pretty robust main landing gear. You do have to be aware on the nose landing gear. You don't want to be doing too much rough field landings with it. This grass strip here at Crow Island seems to be in really good shape, so not a bad place to go. 3-blade prop in the back, the Sensenec 3-blade prop, fixed pitch. It does very well as far as wear and tear and performance. It's having a pusher configuration. You don't pick up a lot of water like you do on a traditional seaplane with the propeller up front. We're going to pick up water and cause some pitting. 20 gallons of fuel it holds, burns anywhere from 4.5 to 5 gallons an hour. So you can fly for a good 3 hours and still have plenty of reserve in there. And it cruises at about 80 to 85 knots, 100 miles an hour. So you can do a 300-mile leg pretty comfortably and still have plenty of reserves in this aircraft in average winds. You also see on the tail there it has a water rudder. That water rudder on the bottom of the tail, it's a black water rudder, and that comes down electrically. It's in the up position right now and stowed. You need it in the up position for land operations. But that comes down with a little switch to give you more directional control on the water, because obviously seaplanes like this don't have brakes, and they don't have any reverse. Some of the turbine seaplanes have a reverse on the propeller, but you have to plan your approach to a beach or a dock or through a mooring field or around boats or other obstacles. Plan it very, do some advanced planning when you're going through areas like that, especially with wind or tide, because you don't have brakes and you don't have reverse. So you're doing a lot of 360s sometimes, just spinning around in circles as you're trying to navigate through something or make a decision. On the tail, though, as well, you can see that pretty traditional on the tail, but I mentioned this, the wings do fold, and the tail, in order to be narrow enough to come on the road, you can unlock the horizontal step wingtips, and this comes out, which for easy transport, and it makes the Icon narrow enough to pull down the road on your trailer. And obviously, it goes in very easily. Each 4 points, the wings and the horizontal stabilizers, have sensors on them. If they're not hooked up properly, you get an indication in the cockpit on an indicator up there. So air cooled and liquid cooled on the engine, the Rotax 912. It is computer controlled, fuel injected. I've been pleasantly surprised and happy with the performance of the 912. The reliability has been very good, and starting up is excellent. Fuel economy is very good, and performance. A lot of people think it's underpowered at 100 horsepower, but it's all about energy management and understanding the performance and the capabilities of the airplane. So once you understand or truly understand the performance capabilities, the 100 horsepower does well. There are some people that are doing an experimental upgrade to a Rotax 915 or 916. It brings them into experimental, I should say, but that performance, I've heard, I have not flown one yet, but I've heard it's pretty spectacular doing that upgrade. Another unique feature about the Icon is the C-wing. This is the C-wing portion right here. It really helps out with flotation on the water. If you notice, there's no sponsons on the wingtip. And so the C-wings on both sides provide a lot of stability when you're on the water. And they're really excellent when you're doing step taxiing, making left and right turns are at around 25 to 30 knots. The C-wings really give you a lot of stability, and you can really tip the wings down and get the wings towards close to the water, but it's actually really hard to get the wingtips in the water. So they've done an excellent design on the C-wing for not only for water stability, but in the air they actually are designed to produce a little bit of lift as well.
So the C-wing is their wings, small wings, also their float.
Correct. Yeah, they do provide some lift capabilities, but the primary purpose is for flotation on the water, stability on the water, which is excellent. Excellent design by Icon. As far as looking in the cockpit, interior was designed by some manufacturers. I believe Audi, Nissan, or BMW engineers had designed the interior, so it's ergonomic, it's comfortable, it's looks very nice with the carbon fiber texture. Really simple as far as flight controls are concerned. Just a single throttle, no carburetor heat, no mixture, because the 912 IS controls all that with basically a FADEC, a full digital controlled computer. Seatbelts work just like an aircraft, on a car. You do have the ballistic parachute, the Icon parachute system, basically a ballistic parachute that you find in other aircraft. Fuel tank is underneath the seats, so we do have 2 redundant fuel pumps to power the engine. Each fuel pump can provide enough fuel flow to the engine should one fail. 30 knots of flaps, very basic on your lights. You do have a heater in here. Here's your radios, your Garmin touchscreen. And the greatest feature about the Icon is that they've gone to angle of attack. A lot of your training and a lot of what we do is based on angle of attack on your phases of flight, whether it be takeoff, climb out, cruise, landing, short field, soft field, your stalls. We put a big emphasis on the angle of attack indicator. So really nice features. The pedals on here, the seats are fixed, but the pedals slide in and out for the rudder pedals. So that's a nice little feature.
Can slide in and
Yeah, seats are fixed, but pedals slide in and out. So it's a really nice feature on that. Small little compartment to hold things with USB chargers. And
here you have a
cup holder. That's probably the best
for your
feature on the
coffee.
entire aircraft is the cup
Okay.
holder. Yeah, so you got to have one of those. Another real cool feature is you're flying along on the hot days, the windows pop right out, and there's a little air deflection tab that we got to stick up here. 90 knots maximum is the speed limitation when you have the windows out and the air deflector in there. But that comes in real handy on nice hot days when you're landing and pulling up to a beach or a boat somewhere and going for a swim. But that's the Icon in a nutshell. Great airplane, a lot of fun.
Hi, Greg. Where
Hi.
did you fly from? Can you tell me about your journey? What's the difficult part? Is that the landing part? Or tell me about your exciting journey, please.
Sure. So this Icon was based down in New Bedford, Mass, for the last number of years, 5 years or so, and did a lot of flying around Nantucket and the Vineyard, Elizabeth Islands, Narragansett Bay, Cape Cod. Great playground for the Icon. So I came up today from Icon. The new owner is based here in Crow Island, Stowe. And so I did the journey up today. It was about a 35-minute flight, 38-minute flight up from New Bedford to Crow Island. But this is my first time in Crow Island, grass strip, a lot of fun, really interesting characters around here. And so being on the river and some trees and some rising terrain, it was a lot of fun coming in here. But I did a lot of research on ForeFlight and Google Earth and watching videos on YouTube to see what I could find about information about the airport before I came in. Did as much research as I could to be as safe as I could. But coming in, the Icon has landing gear, as you can see. It doesn't just only land in the water. And so it was a lot of fun coming down the river and through the trees and making a landing on here, but she did very well. I think I got stopped, just before this hangar here with plenty of runway left. And then because of the tight, well, for me, it was in the Icon as it was an experience. I wanted to do a couple of circuits in the pattern here just by myself with a lighter weight, better performance. So I took off out of here and did a couple of circuits around the pattern, staying out of the no-fly zone to the west here. But with the crosswind here today, winds out of the southwest, the crosswind circling to the north. Something to be aware of when you make your turn to the north with the tailwind. Your performance degrades a little bit. So did a couple circuits around here to kind of get familiar and a little bit more comfortable. And it was she performed well and she did great. And so it was interesting. I'm glad I got to come up here and check out Crow Island for the first time. And I'm hoping to be doing a lot of flying out here.
Could you tell me what's the most fun part about flying an Icon?
Well, the Icon is an amphibious aircraft, so it lands on land and water. So obviously the most fun part of the Icon is landing in water. It's a fantastic aircraft for exploring the region, flying down low, safely down low, but being mindful and a good neighbor to stay off of houses and obstacles and other people. But being an amphibious aircraft, to have the ability to depart from an airport and go land in a pond or a river or a protected beach down by the ocean or a protected harbor, that's probably the most fun part. And exploring an area low and slow, but also having the safety of being able to land in the water should you have any issues. It's also got the parachute if we have any issues. So this airplane is they have a lot of things built into the safety of the aircraft and keeping your situational awareness up where you're flying into. So that's absolutely that's why people buy the Icons, to land in the water and have an adventure in that in any way they possibly can, in and on and around water.
What's the difference between landing on the water and landing on the land? And is that difficult to take off and land on the water, or it's easier than the land?
So when you're landing on land, you typically have a runway that the conditions. A lot of time airports have a windsock or some kind of transcribed weather that you can pick up on your radio or pick up on your ForeFlight or your phone. When you're landing on water, it's entirely up to you to figure out how you can get in and get out. So it's entirely you as a pilot to make the decision, the aeronautical decision-making skills to get into a zone, but more importantly, to get out. Performance is not unknown. You don't know what you have for obstacles or how much of a distance you have. So as a pilot doing water operations, it's a little more pre-planning involved. Not only for the landing zone, but what your aircraft can and cannot handle. And that's something you learn with experience as time goes on. You give yourself a lot of room to start off with a big landing zone in the water. And then you can slowly start working yourself into smaller and tighter places as your experience level increases, as your decision making, aeronautical decision making choices become better and better. And so that's the exciting part about flying in the water too, is that you need to figure this stuff out. It's not at a controlled environment at an airport. So that's the part I love about it. Been flying seaplanes for 35 years, and I'll fly seaplanes as long as I possibly can. And I think that's the challenging part that that a lot of seaplane pilots love. It's going into an unknown and trying to figure it out, get in safely and get out safely.
And Icon land on the ocean. How big waves can Icon handle?
So the Icon, the limitation for wave height is 1 foot, 12 inches for the Icon. And so that's just to, you have to understand that when you're landing on wheels, the wheels can go over the surface. When you're landing on water, there's a lot of surface area that's hitting the hull of the aircraft. And so 1 foot of wave chop and stuff like that is the maximum that the manufacturer recommends that you do. Sometimes you're in an area though where boats are coming around and you have wake, you're taxiing slow, and the wake can get close to you to the airplane, and water can come up over the top, and so that's, you have to understand, you don't want to be taking off or landing in some choppy wake and things like that. So it's a matter of safety, but also making sure you don't damage the aircraft with large waves.
Everybody know Icon is very fashionable, very modern. It's a carbon fiber. So is that easy to maintain?
So the main hull, fuselage, wings, tail feathers, it's all carbon fiber, so that's corrosion resistant. But a lot of the metal parts, brakes, pedals, some of the control linkage and things like that is still metal, stainless, aluminum, things like that. We do coat all metal parts in a corrosion resistant film to kind of help protect it. So you do have to be aware of corrosion issues still, even with the Icon. I've had to replace some cables and linkages and heaters and things like that and connectors that have corroded over a while. But as far as the fuselage is concerned, it's the carbon fiber really, that's why the Icon is really a preferred aircraft for taking into salt water, because it does a very good job with not succumbing to all the corrosion issues that you would on a metal aluminum aircraft. So that's one of the biggest features of the Icon compared to other light sport seaplanes that are out there.
So every time you finish your fly from the salt water, do you have to wash it, the whole plane?
Yes, we do full wash down after every saltwater operations at the end of the day. So if we're in and out of salt water over the course of the day, we don't really wash it down. But at the end of the day, before we put it away, a full wash down. I use salt away all over the wings. Actually, this airplane has a bilge pump in it, which is convenient. So make up a salt away bucket of water and actually dump it in the bilge, because there's a bilge pump and fuel tanks are down there with some lines and so on the pedals and things like that. So I will spray the aircraft down with salt away and do a full freshwater rinse, let the aircraft dry off, and might lubricate some of the metal things, some of the springs and some of the other moving components, give them a light touch of oil, penetrating oil, to kind of keep them clean from salt. So yeah, full wash down. I spend at least a half an hour every time coming back in from saltwater operations to make sure that the Icon is fully clean and free of salt.